We can get started whenever.
We're starting.
Woo! Hi, ladies. Happy Thursday. It is, I always have to look at the date, December 17th. So crazy. We are so close to Christmas. I am so excited to be here with you guys tonight. We have an incredible speaker, Kasey. I mean, if you guys have heard her speak before, she's just straight fire. So I'm so excited to hear from her and her topic. But before we get started with anything, I'm going to share my screen so we can just welcome. We have a couple new coaches to welcome onto our collective team, which is so exciting. And just a side note, remember that the customer launch for 9-Week Control Freak is on Monday. So anything, if you guys have not tried the sample workouts, make sure you're testing them out. Make sure that you guys are creating all the FOMO, that you have, links, or, if you go into the Coach Online office literally and you look up like Grow My Business and you look up the product tools for 9-Week Control Freak, they literally have a step-by-step guide. So I printed all my things out. I have everything ready to go so that when the 21st hits, when Monday hits, that I'm sending out all my links. So make sure maybe you come up with some kind of a newsletter or something to send people over this weekend. That way you have a way to collect emails and forms to get your people started. So make sure that you guys are adding the hype. Okay, so let me share host disabled attendee screen sharing. But aren't I the host?
Other April is the host, so she could record.
Okay. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. How about I just shout these people out? I'll just say their names. How's that work? Okay, we're just rolling with it tonight, guys. Okay, we're rolling with it. Okay, so I am going to be looking at a different screen, but if you guys looked in BU, you saw our top 10 coaches of the week. April is in the top coach spot, which is well-deserved. And like out of any week, this is the week she deserves to be on there because she has been going through so much. So way to rock it, April. Other ladies on there is Kasey, Melissa, myself, Liz Keys, Carolyn, Lindsay, Kelly, Hannah, Jess Perkins. You guys are killing it. And then we have some new people to welcome. So on April's team, we're going to welcome new coach Mallory. We're also welcoming new coach Chelsea and new coach Jessica. Welcome to our team, ladies. On our team, we have Darian, who just got started. We're so excited to have you on our team. Melissa has a new coach, Angela, and Hannah has a brand new coach, Kelsey, that she is welcoming onto her team. So welcome, ladies. We are so excited to have you on our team. Literally the best family in the world. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Kasey. I'm sure everybody knows her, but just to give her a little bit credit so that we know who's speaking. Kasey got started a little bit over a year ago, has completely just crushed it. She is a girlfriend. She's a mama of a 2-year-old baby girl. She is a full-time college student. She wears many hats in her life. She is getting ready. She's a pre-med student. And she was also a success starter. She got to be in the MBF test group, which was so incredible for her. She's a lifetime 1-star diamond coach, and she has earned her spot in New Leaders. So she will be attending New Leaders in just a couple weeks, which is so incredible. So she's going to have so much value to add to our team. She is just so she's just like a fire. Like she's so inspiring. She's such a fire. She's so positive. She's confident. Like she is goals. So when she speaks, we listen. All right, Case, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Oh gosh. Okay. No, April 2 got it. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, so make sure you guys can see this. Rach, I can see you, so give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Okay, thank you so much, guys. And I am really excited to be here, and I'm really excited to talk about a topic in my life that I have literally been working on for so long. So like Rachel said, I wear a lot of different hats, especially when I first started this business. I was working 2 part-time jobs, going to school full-time. I have a chaotic family life. I have my own family, and it was just so much. And for so long, I literally lived my life as a servant of other people, right? I set goals for myself that I thought other people would want me to hit. And I don't think that's uncommon, especially as women. We have such a desire to please the people around us, especially as children. We have such a desire to make our parents proud and to make our friends proud and to be well liked by other people because we just want to fit in. But I found that fitting in wasn't working for me because every time I tried to just fit in, I actually ended up in groups and in places where I literally couldn't have felt more of an alien. And so living in alignment has really become a very key focus for me and for my life, because as you'll see, if these things are not kind of where they need to be, you're going to have a really hard time to do anything in your life. So this time last year, really, like before I even started coaching, before I even started following Rachel, I knew, I was like, something has to change in my life. I need something. And this was like really when I started searching for something. And then I wasn't searching for Rachel, but like she popped up, and I really just don't believe in coincidences anymore. And so I'm excited to be here right now with all of you guys. And hopefully you guys can each take something away, because if you're here right now on this call showing up a week before Christmas, this is like where you need to be right now. I literally will get goosebumps 40 times. That was the first time tonight. But living in alignment is all about really crafting a version of your life that's most beautiful and most true to you. And that little most beautiful, most true to you part is a quote from one of my favorite books. It's called Untamed. It's by Glennon Doyle. I have like a very special personal connection to her because her wife is actually a U.S. women's national soccer team player. And I grew up playing soccer, love the U.S. women's national team. And so her book is called Untamed. I would definitely recommend, if you are a woman, if you know women, every single woman in the world should read that book. It is that amazing. But it really caught on to me when I was reading her book, because she went through this entire transformation in her life. She grew up and she got married and she had the kids, and she thought her life was everything it was supposed to be, but she still felt so unfulfilled because there was a part of her that she wasn't living up to. And there was a part of her that was no longer in alignment, and it was a cascading effect that was going to every other area of her life. And I think that all too often we find ourselves in the same area. So drop in the chat, you guys. I want to know, what do you think your identity is? Because we're going to really dive into this first. And I will not move on until I see things in the chat. I hope I can open it up. Okay. Yeah. There's no wrong answer, by the way. Okay, people pleaser, overachiever, procrastinator, perfectionist, wife, mom, nurse, coach, wife, mom, nurse. Oh, you guys have a lot in common. Fiance, cat mama, engineer. Ooh, good for you, Liz. Coach, student. What Stephanie said, all the same. Okay, right. And this is like exactly what I knew was going to happen. Because often, especially as women, what we turn into our identity is the roles we play and who we think we are based on what it is that we do. So if you said that you are a mother, girl, congratulations. I love you for that. Me too. But that is not who you are. Because if you told me you're a mom, I only know one thing about you, that you have birthed humans, or that you have adopted humans, that you have small humans you're in charge of. But that tells me nothing about who you are as a person. That tells me absolutely nothing about what you believe or what you align yourself with, the characteristics that make you you. If you told me your career in there, that's amazing, because I know you work dang hard for that. You better believe when I become a doctor, I will no longer answer to anything but Dr. Kasey. Okay. But that's not who I am, because the person who I am right now is still who I am without that designation, without that degree. And so we can be all of these things. Some of these are really good. Control freak, weirdo, hot mess. Yes, like those are kind of getting closer, but anything about a role that you play, something that you do, or your biggest failure, right? I saw things like procrastinator and hot mess, right? Those are just failures or faults that we see in ourselves, but that doesn't mean that's who we are. If you designate yourself as a hot mess, I can bet you that I can go find a great picture of you and you look absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing. You look nothing like a hot mess. I bet you have accomplished goals that required you to not be a hot mess, right? If you said you're a procrastinator, I bet you have hit a deadline before, right? And so those might be things that we have done or things that we have, gone through in our life, but it's not who we are. And that's not our identity. So like I said, it's not the roles we play. It's not what we do. It's not our biggest mistakes, our biggest flaws. It's not going to be our biggest triumph either. Sometimes we think that, whatever we do in our life, that is going to be the biggest thing we do, right? We think that becomes who we are, right? But it's not who we are. It's more so about the journey to becoming what we want to do. And that becomes our identity, right? So the value of identity is, of course, that it comes often with purpose. And that's what I love, because your identity is not a role you play. It is who you are. It is the things you value. And we have two different types of values. We have extrinsic values, which are values that we value because society tells us to believe in them, right? This is like basically any laws, like please don't kill people. That's something, we all value, like living and being safe, right? Also relationships. This in extrinsic values doesn't mean they're wrong or bad. It just means it's a standard that society has set out, right? So a lot of us have this value on having some sort of loving relationship in our life because that's what society has told us to do. But the more interesting part is we also have these intrinsic values, right? And this is where like the Enneagram test comes in. There's another one that I just took. It's called the VIA. What is it called? Character strengths. That's another really good test if you're looking to learn more about yourself. I can put a link in our team pages later. But these are innate to our human experience, and we are all different people. And if you know anything about the Enneagrams, like I am an Enneagram 1, so what is most important to me is justice, fairness, my moral code. But that's going to be completely different for everybody, and that is who my identity is, right? Because those are the things that make me me, and they are innate to my human experience. They are a part of my human design. I cannot change them. I cannot give them up as much as I want to. I can't bend my moral code for anybody. I can't even bend it for myself as much as I want to, right? That's why I'm so hard on myself. And that's a part of me. So if you are struggling to figure out what your identity is, Enneagram tests and the VIA character strengths are a really good place to start. But that doesn't mean that because I'm an Enneagram 1, I abide by every single thing that pops up on that website, right? We are our own individual peoples, and we have been shaped and morphed into who we are by all of the experiences we have gone through. And that is your identity, okay? If your identity doesn't come with purpose, then it's not your identity. It doesn't make up who you are. And so the assignment for this section, all of these different sections are going to have an assignment, but this will really help you kind of figure out if your identities are really living up to what you say you value, right? Because if you were somebody who said a part of my identity is that I really value my family, or I value my time with your family, but then we looked at your schedule and we didn't see any family time, something's going wrong here. You either don't really value your family time, or you're just not showing up for that value and you're living in misalignment. Either way, there's not going to be any productivity. There's not going to be any growth happening because you're falling short in one area or another. So I want you to take out your schedule, not right now, and just look at where you spend your time, because wherever you're spending your time is what you value. And so if you find that like, holy crap, I'm spending 9 hours a day on my phone, but you're not spending 9 hours a day on that phone working your business or doing something productive, then you really got to get it in check, right? Like I can't say that I value having being able to run a business from my phone because it keeps me home with my family, but then also spend 3 hours watching Netflix on my phone. Those don't align well. And that's going to put me in a state of misalignment, and I'm not going to be able to show up to things as I need to. Okay. So that's assignment number 1. There will be 5. So I hope you guys like homework. Okay. Drop in the chat. Let's talk about beliefs now, because this is my second favorite about this. Just what you believe. You can drop what you believe. You can drop what a belief is. Anything you want to associate with beliefs. This is going to be the next part. And these come in a sequential order. So you kind of have to get the first one down to get the second one down. So let's talk a little bit about what we believe in here. Yes, April. Stop labeling yourself as a hot mess. Pivotal. Okay, I'm awake, guys. Struggling with any belief system right now. Yeah, that's hard. And if you are there, it's like I said, these go in a sequential order. So if you're struggling, like if you find that one of these areas is a big struggle for you, then we're going to want to go to the next one right before. Yes, I believe in God, myself. Oh, I love that, April. My values, correct. So basically, what a belief is in this sense is a characteristic that makes you. Okay. It's an embodiment of your identity. And I'm going to say this like 4 times because we got to get this through our head, right? Because we as people create a condition statement for our life. For example, I will be rich when I get my doctorate. I will be happy when I have my degree. I will feel fulfilled when I buy a house. But the problem is that if we rest our emotions in an event that we have no idea if it's going to happen, we've already lost. Okay. You cannot fulfill the identity that you want to embody until you have completely taken on the characteristics of a person who has that identity. So, for example, I want to be a doctor someday, right? So, right now, I'm reading a book written by a doctor because I need to know and I need to figure out where are the areas that I need to grow in my life so I can embody the characteristics of a person who has been where I want to be and who has walked the path I want to walk in. Okay. Because sometimes we hear that, the person who you are today isn't who you need to be to hit a goal, but we don't understand what that means. To some of us, that might mean, well, then I'm not good enough, but that's not what it means. We trick ourselves. Okay. All it means is that we have to pick up little skills along the way. Okay. Doctors pay a lot of attention to detail. Okay. And that's an area that I know I need to work on if I want to help women bring babies into this world. Like I have to fix things, or not fix things. I have to add more tools to my toolbox. Okay. So whatever identity it is that you want, right? Those values you said that you value, that make you you. You won't fulfill that until you can embody the characteristics of a person who has that identity. So if you're sitting here, and I'll relate it to coaching, if you're sitting here saying, I will be a leader when I'm a diamond coach, well, you've already lost, because who knows when you're going to hit diamond. And if you keep telling yourself that you're not a leader till that happens, guess what? Then nobody's going to look at you as a leader. And what do you need to be in order to attract people to join your team, in order to attract people to join your challenge group? A freaking leader. Like there is no, Beachbody didn't put out like, by the way, guys, none of you are leaders until you hit this certain rank. You get the exact same tools as every other person who joins this business, and you start in the exact same place. But it's just recognizing that what are those leadership qualities that I need to embody, that I need to get down? Because I can't hit, like, how can I hit a leadership rank if I don't have the qualities of a leader, right? So maybe it's time blocking for you that you need to work on. You need to work on your time management. Maybe it is belief in yourself, because how can you pour belief into other people if you don't have a belief in yourself, right? There's a whole bunch of different qualities that you may be needing to add to your toolbox in order to really embody who it is that you want to be, but you won't get there if you don't embody the characteristics first, okay? So sometimes we create these if-then statements, which, you guys, I'm a science person. If-then only works when it's coming to a hypothesis, right? To a scientific theory that we can test, that is measurable. But is success really measurable? Is my value really measurable? Because I don't know of a scale that's really going to measure that for me, right? Because I'm so focused on what I'm doing, and I'm so focused on who I am, and I'm so focused on the tools that I'm adding into my toolbox. I have no clue what anybody's doing. So who am I to judge against? No clue. Okay. So your beliefs are what you believe in, characteristics you want to embody. And like I said, you won't fulfill that identity until you have gotten the characteristics down. If you are struggling with what you believe in, this is a great assignment for you. Everybody should do this irregardless. Every single story has a hero, and we are the heroes of our own story. I totally believe that. God put me here on this earth so I could rock my life, right? But who is your nemesis? This is a really good way to think of what you believe in, because sometimes we have a hard time admitting to ourselves what we might need to work on, right? Because it can be hard. I'm not somebody who accepts criticism well from other people or from myself, something I'm working on. So sometimes I don't want to admit the areas of my life that I need to improve on. And so instead, I'm thinking of like, okay, what is my worst case scenario? What is like the things I absolutely know I don't believe in? For me, that is like treating people unfairly. I don't believe in that, right? So I'm writing down these things that I absolutely know I do not stand by. If I were to come into contact and somebody was doing something and I just knew I would have to stand up against it, right? And then you could think about, okay, that's my nemesis. I do not want to be that person. So who can I believe? I don't want to be a quitter. That's something I never wanted to be, right? And so I'm writing that down on my list. I don't want to be a quitter. I don't care what the situation comes up. I want to know that whatever it is, I can do it. I want to persevere. And so that's a good way to figure out what it is that you actually do believe. Okay, this is my favorite section because we're going to get into a little juicy part at the end. I'm going to pop in the chat, look at what you guys are saying, but in a second, just put in there, what are your needs and wants? This can be anything in your life, like literally anything. Will the real April McDonald please stand up? Yeah, I will be happy when I lose 10 pounds. Seriously, because people are going to lose that 10 pounds and they're not going to be happy because it was never the weight. It was the belief that was lacking. It was never the weight. So true. Constantly downplay my worth as a leader. Okay. So I'm going to share a few, to quit my full-time job as coach, help others, become a mama, and build a family. Oh, Dana, I love that. I'm going to share a couple of my needs and wants. Okay. Tyler and Dakota are screaming and playing in the hallway. Something that I absolutely need in my life is to be appreciated and loved, not just physically. I need to be appreciated and loved mentally and intellectually too. That's something I absolutely need. Something I absolutely need in my life is to have a home that is built with love, right? A lot of my needs come from things that I lacked in my childhood or in my early life. They come from things that I felt like I missed out on. Okay. So if that's something you resonate with, I just want to make sure that you're not wanting things just because you feel like you didn't have them, right? Because that was something I fell into, right? I used to think that, dang, I really wish, like, I just need to have a nice car. Like, I just need to have my parents pay for my tuition. Like, I just need that. Like, everybody else has it and they seem so happy, right? But it's a trap because we don't even know if people are truly happy, right? How do I have any idea if some girl sitting in my math class is happy just because she drives a Mercedes Benz? I have no clue. And so if you are resonating with the fact that like everything that you feel like you need is things you didn't have, just make sure it is really something you really, really want. Okay. A need is something you cannot live without, and you probably cannot find it in a store. Okay. And I think a lot of us know this, but this is important for the juicy part. A want. Your joy would not be impacted with or without it, but it may influence your happiness. I'm going to go into that in a second. You may be able to buy it at the store, and it's often fulfilled by your needs, right? So I want to have a healthy and thriving relationship. But what's going to supply that? Me being appreciated, loved, intellectually, emotionally, physically. And my want for that will supply my need, or my need for that in a relationship will supply my want. That will give me that healthy relationship that I want. So they go hand in hand. But here we're going to go into the distinction between joy and happiness, because I learned about this from a paper that I read, and it's really quick. It's really short. It's actually a very easy read. So I can post it on our team page if I can find it. But there is a big difference between what we consume as joy and what we consume as happiness. Okay. And the distinction in this paper was between, it was a woman who wrote this paper. She was talking about her children, and she was talking about eating popsicles on a warm summer day. And I'm sure you can see where this is going, but let's start with happiness. Her version of happiness in this paper was those popsicles on a warm summer day, right? It's an external feeling. It is something that's happening around us, not inside. It is dependent on the circumstance. It's dependent on the fact that it's not only warm, but that she also had these like pineapple popsicles. It is an effect of something. So because she had these things, this was the effect. It is a result. It is ever changing. It's inconsistent. It is something acquired throughout your lifetime, and it's an emotional response to an external event. But joy, that's internal, right? It's independent of the circumstances. I like to think of this with Dakota. It doesn't matter how bad our day could have been. It doesn't matter what she could have done, right? As a mother, the joy, the happiness I have from seeing her is independent of the circumstance. It doesn't matter if she's literally screaming her head off. My love for her, my care for her, my desire to help her doesn't change versus when she's acting like an angel, right? It is a cause. It's eternal, consistent, it's innate, and it's an active will, right? And so really, really deep dive into the things in your life, because I have found that the more things I can separate into, is this bringing me joy or is this bringing me happiness? The easier I can let go of the things that are bringing me happiness. And when I let things go like that, it allows me to live without constraint, right? Because it's this idea, again, going back to those like if then statements. When we create those for ourselves, we create circumstances in which we can experience feelings that we need to feel as humans. And I don't want that, right? And this for me, this goes all the way back to the Bible. If that's not for you, totally cool. But look in there, like the way that God talks about joy, it's incredible. And the way that he talks about us, letting go of our earthly possessions and really just surrendering to him. He is asking us, you guys, to please, I want you to experience happiness, but joy will bring you the fulfillment that you need. And joy is where it's at. And so really look at your life and think about, really get intentional. Are these things that I need? Because the things you need in your life are going to be the things that bring you joy. And the things that you want, they may bring you happiness, but you can't create a circumstantial life based on happiness, based on material items, based on things around you, based on an if then statement that you have no clue if it's ever going to happen, right? When I was 18, my life was figured out, you guys. It was perfect. I had a full ride scholarship to literally my dream school. I was in the sorority that I wanted to be in, and I had all the friends. And in a moment, all of that was taken away from me. Okay. I wrapped up my happiness in a circumstance of a life that I thought I was building. And I had to go through that really, really hard time to recognize that if I continue to put conditions on my life, I will never truly experience joy. And joy is the best feeling you can ever feel, right? So it's innate to who we are. It's eternal, consistent. That's something I wouldn't ever want anybody to live without. And so recognize, what are the things in your life that bring you joy? I love this. When joy is a habit, love is a reflex. If you feel joy, you show love. That's the cause of it. And that's what happens. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I hope that everybody gets to experience true, absolute, beautiful joy in their life, right? Because that means that we're living the life that we were intended to live. So the assignment for this one is simply to write out a list of what you do and what you need and what you want. And you can do the same thing as the other ones. If you don't specifically know, you can just write down what you know you don't want, or the things you know you don't need, right? And what you need is going to be way different from what I need. Like I'm trying to think of, I can't remember exactly what I wrote down. I put that I needed to have a relationship with God, because for me, I'm a science person, but science doesn't get me all of the way there. Science will tell me how every day of the week, but God tells me why. And so I needed both. And that's something I need in my life. It's going to look really different for you, but don't be afraid to like write these things down and put them on paper. I think sometimes if we put them on paper, they seem so real that it scares the living crap out of us. But how are you ever going, like it takes looking it in the face. Okay. So write down some things you need, some things you want. And then finally, we can get to our vision, you guys. The vision is the art of delicately lacing together who you are, your identity, what you believe, the characteristics that make you you, and what you need and what you want. And vision is truly the art of seeing what is invisible to others. So now when you go through these steps and when you do them the way they were intended to be done, and when you do them the way that your heart needs them to be done, right? You can't halfway do it. You can't write down things that other people value, because that's a mistake. It has to be true to you, okay, for this to work. But when you have done all of that, you will find yourself in a state of what I call alignment, right? Because who here has ever made a vision board, or who here has ever set a goal that they thought they freaking wanted, right? And maybe they worked hard for it. Maybe you worked hard for it for a little bit. But as time went on, you found yourself not actually showing up for that goal, for that vision, for that dream that you had set for yourself, right? Something was in misalignment there, because if you have your identity down, if you know who you are, if you know what you need in your life, if you know what you believe and what you need to do to get yourself there, then you do it. But if you don't have all those things, doesn't matter what day of the week it is, you probably won't show up for it 100% like you know you can, like you know you need to. And so being in alignment is the key to actually reaching the goals you want to hit. It's the key to actually being able to create a life that you love. And I am so passionate about doing it, you guys, because do you know the number one thing that people say on their deathbed that they regret, that they wished they did, was that they wished they had more courage. They wished they had the courage to go out and live that life that they wanted to live. This is a majority of people, you guys. A majority of people feel that way when they die. That's my biggest fear, is ever having to feel that way, because I don't want anybody to ever have to feel, I don't want to feel regret. I want to go out there. I want to try it all. I want to do everything one time, right? Not everything, but a lot of things, right? I just want to figure out what was made for me and what my version of my beautiful and true life looks like. I don't know. So I have to go out there and I have to figure it out. And doing this requires you to live in a perpetual state of curiosity. And if you're not somebody who loves to learn, that's okay, because this isn't even learning about everything else, right? Some people hate classrooms. I personally love a classroom. If you don't, this is learning about yourself. This is learning about your life. This is creating the life that you want your children to love. However you need to frame it, you do that, but get yourself in a perpetual state of curiosity, right? A lot of times we find ourselves in seasons wishing them away. I wish this would just stop. I wish it would just get easier. I wish the struggles would stop coming, right? If I keep wishing away all of the lessons that I'm supposed to be learning, well, then I'm never going to learn. I'm never going to figure it out. So I sit in a season in a perpetual state of curiosity, wondering, what is it that I need to do to get myself out of this state? For me to do that, it requires me to learn something. Every single season you go through is a chance for you to add another tool to your toolbox that you can then help somebody else with, right? In the future, who's going through that same struggle, that same season. But if you sit there wishing away the season that you're in, you will not learn what you need to learn, right? Vision is important, because if you feel like you've ever, like if this is wishy-washy to you, it's because you didn't do it right. You didn't do the other steps, right? You didn't create the version of the life that you love, the version of the life you want to live. And you can't see true happiness. You can't experience true joy. You can't do any of those other things until you have done the other work. Okay. So this one, you guys, is the most important one. And I don't want to see anybody writing a vision tomorrow because you didn't do all of the other steps first. Okay. Your assignment though will be to write out a vision and a few goals. I would suggest no more than 3, because if you write down any more than 3, that tells me you're not in alignment, because I am a multi-passionate person, right? We talked about all the hats I wear before this. I have so many ideas, you guys. Like everything comes to me when I'm sleeping and I wake up and I write it down. I have ideas galore. Okay. I want to start another company someday, but I'm not going to put that on my plate right now, because I'm in this company right now. I'm building this business. And I committed to doing this first, because in this business, because I'm not handling things like shipping and packaging and all of those other things, I can really focus on the leader I need to be in order to scale a business. And until I have that down, until I have the identity down, I'm not going to go start my own business where I have to take on more things, where I have to take on more of the work on myself, right? Yes, I want to start a business someday, but not today. That's not my number one priority. My goal right now is to scale my business I'm in right now. I want to write a book someday, but I'm not going to put that on my plate right now because I'm in school. I don't have time to write a book. I want to write a book someday, but I know I haven't learned all the lessons that need to go in that book. And so I'm not going to put that on my plate right now. Sometimes we want to take so much on because we really just have this idea that if I just work harder, but sometimes it's not about working harder. Sometimes it's about working smarter and working towards the things you know you can get done right now and not overworking yourself. Okay. So I would say no more than 3 goals. If you have more than 3, you have to go back to the drawing board, because you've got to figure out 3 areas of your life that are most important to you right now, right this second. Because like I said, you cannot take on the identity until you embody the characteristics. I don't have all the characteristics of authors, of business owners that own their own businesses and have offices like that. I don't have that yet. And I'm willing to admit that, right? I'm willing to be open and courageous about admitting that with myself. But I know that where I am, like the path I'm on right now, is because this is where I'm going to learn the lessons. So I'm going to learn all the lessons, and I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm not going to give myself a timeline and say, if I don't start my own business next year, it's just done. No, I'm not going to do that to myself, because that's setting me up for failure. I'm going to be here as long as I need to be here. I'm going to learn as much as I need to learn. And when I'm ready, then I will put that on my vision board. Okay. So your vision board should really only include like 3 areas of your life that you want to work on, that you want to focus on. I'll tell you guys what that looks like for me: my family, my school, and my business, this business right here that I'm doing with all of you guys. Okay. Those are my 3 areas. So I'm not adding on there other things, even though I might have other areas of my life that I want to work on. That's not my main focus. And then I'm going to break those down and say, okay, what are the goals that I want to hit in these, and why? And what do I need to learn along the way? And then last but not least, you guys, is action, because you deserve to do so much more than just dream about this life, right? Like, I don't want to dream this amazing life and then never hit it, because if you just write it down on a piece of paper, that's all it'll ever be, right? Um, so you have to take action. You have to do something, right? You have to put in the work because it does require work. A goal without a plan is just a dream. And the nice thing is that you create the plan, you create the dream, so it's your life. You make it what you want it. And it's really going to be really, really hard. It's never going to be easy. I think we need to get past the misconception that somehow like life is easy, that life is fair. It's never going to be. That's why we have to stay in those perpetual states of curiosity, because if we're not curious, then we're never going to figure out what it is we're supposed to be learning when it's really freaking hard. And so we need to stay in that state. And just because you write it one way doesn't mean it's going to happen that exact same way, right? So we need to be willing to let go. We need to be willing to be, gracious. We need to be willing to forgive ourselves and others, right? We need all of these things in order to live the life we want to live. And for this one, guys, this is really the best thing I can offer you guys is to find somebody to confide in with these things about the goals and the vision, because accountability is the key to success. If you don't like, I literally go back to like Rachel and Heather every single time. Like they have both said, I would not be here if it were not for that other person. And so you need to find whoever that other person is and say, hey, like I have these big goals, I have this big vision, I have this dream, and I know people don't see it yet. I know they don't. But at every step I take, it gets a little bit clearer for them. And I want you to walk towards that with me, because I know we can do it together. I can't do it by myself, you guys. We are so weak when we look at the people who are strongest, right? I think for me, I think of God. Compared to God, I am so weak. I have nothing, right? But together with these people that He has placed in my life, I know that I can accomplish way more. So I'm not going to turn away from these people when it gets hard. I'm going to lean in, and I'm not going to ask these people to please bend the rules that I've set for myself. I'm not going to ask these people to let things slide. I want these people to uphold me to the values, to the identity, to the characteristics that I have set forth for myself, because I did that in a state of mind where I knew I could accomplish those things. And sometimes we will fall out of those states of mind, you guys. It is a skill to do the things that you said that you wanted to do when the feeling that you said them in is gone. Okay. Because when we set goals, we're so excited, right? But it is a skill and something you have to work at to continue to do those things, even when that feeling of excitement and passion is gone. And so find somebody to do it with. I don't care who it is. It can be your mom. It can be somebody on this team. It can be somebody who you haven't even freaking met yet, right? Like that person is going to come into your life when you need them most, and be willing to lean in on that person. Okay. And I just wanted to add in here that I am running an entire workshop on this. It's 5 days and I kept it at 50, but if you guys want to join, you're more than welcome to, because I really am obviously very passionate about this. But also consider, could you do something like this on your own? That's really why I put it in here, but I didn't want to just like disinvite everybody. But could you consider running a free group on your own about something you're really passionate about? Because we are all passionate. Like, I want you to go back up to that identity piece and look at like who the heck it is that you are, what it is you value. And do you have something you could provide to somebody who is like you, who has some of those same things in common with you? Because that is going to be so incredible, not only for your heart, you guys. It makes me so happy to share this with other people, because this is something that my life would look drastically different if I hadn't walked through it, if I hadn't figured out this plan, right? What could you do like that? You're more than welcome to join mine. I would love to include you. I have a little workbook that we're going to be doing in there. It's going to be amazing. But I think it'd be really incredible if you could find out that one piece of your identity that you picked up along this journey and what that is. And I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be a fitness free group. It will not be. It'll be something completely different. You have learned lessons from this business and this life along this journey that have nothing to do with our vital behaviors, nothing to do with fitness, nothing to do with healthy recipes. And that's what's really going to speak to somebody. So that is all I have. I'm going to stop my share right now. I'm going to look at the chat.
Well, that was freaking incredible. I think all of us took away so much from that call, Kasey. Thank you so much. That was obviously very thorough and well thought out, and we really appreciate it. Yeah, does anybody have any questions?
Somebody mentioned Marie Kondoing. You already know that's the only way I fold my clothes. Yes, April 2020 word, aligned. Oh, thank you, Melanie. I would write a great thought. Okay, I don't think there's any questions in here, but if you guys want to be added into my group, what is the quote? Like, love is a side effect. Oh. Let me scroll back. When joy is a habit, love is a reflex. I think that's what you're talking about. I think I made that up. Let me go.
Make sure you quote Kasey. Okay, April, you want to stop the recording and we can take a picture real quick?
You unmute it.
It does not give me an option to stop the recording, but it did this last time we did this, remember?
I think I have it.
It's recording to my cloud right now, so we're fine. But if you can stop recording.